Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, good morning. Today, let's talk about the massive Bitcoin supply shock that's coming soon. Yes, there is an unprecedented amount of demand right now, causing the supply to plummet. So, let's talk about this and let's talk about what else to look forward to for Bitcoin. All right, let's do it. Welcome, guys. Good morning. Let's start out the day with this. Stanley Druckenmiller, who is a famous billionaire macro guy, also a fan of Bitcoin, gives Biden's economic policies an F and blames the Fed and Treasury for reigniting inflation. Can't say that I disagree, okay? It just seems like our government doesn't really know what to do. We have conflicting data, economic data, and Fed Chair Powell can only do so much because, on the other hand, we have still a lot of debt. We still have a lot of borrowing happening. We still have a lot of money being printed. And it's going against what he's trying to solve, which is inflation. And he's trying to get price stability. And it's hard to do that when we have so much other shenanigans going on, right? So I don't know if there's a clear answer for this in terms of what our government in the US can do. But I do know there is one solution out there. You know what the solution is? Bitcoin. Okay. I mean, it's clear. It's clear as day. If you think the solution to inflation and to all of our worries about money is to buy bonds, well, year to date returns is negative 0.5%. So you would be wrong. Investing in NASDAQ, S&P, better ideas. Net positive gains. Gold, even better idea. 12% gain. But what's the best idea? Bitcoin. So despite the volatility, the year-to-date return is still 53%, and there is none other that is anywhere even close. Okay, so if you put two and two together, what does that mean? Bitcoin is the answer, and it has always been the answer. Since 2009 till now, Bitcoin was created to be the answer, okay, against the shenanigans of the banks, of the governments around the world, against what central banks have done for how many years. Bitcoin is the answer, and it's proving that with its returns. Nothing has outperformed Bitcoin since the last, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. It hasn't been out for 15. It's been out for 15 years. So, clear as day, Bitcoin is the answer. And that is why right now the fundamentals keep on growing. Bitcoin's 200-day moving average is its highest point ever recorded in history. It takes a long time to move the moving average. A 200-day moving average is more than half a year, okay? And it is the highest point ever. And it will keep going up, just like the moving average. If you just look at it, the moving average literally has never really gone down, especially if you zoom out. I'm sure if you zoom in, there may be a few little points that actually show it going down, but really it's undetectable because when you invest in Bitcoin, it's long term. And long term, Bitcoin just keeps going higher and higher and higher, keeps forming higher highs and higher lows every single cycle. And it's no different this cycle. We have just begun the parabolic phase of this cycle. We've started a bull run back in 2023 when Bitcoin was at 16,000 and recovering upwards. When I said it then, no one wanted to believe it, but we were already in the bull cycle. But now that we're after the halving event, this is when the parabolic phase of the bull cycle starts. And that's going to drive us much higher. But models like this shows how Bitcoin is just getting stronger and stronger and stronger, despite short-term volatility, despite the fact there may be times where Bitcoin dips 20% or 25% like what we just went through. Does not matter. Just think about Bitcoin long-term, right? Now, in terms of short-term data, this is actually pretty good. Netflow, 2 positive days of net flow. We had 7 consecutive days, basically a week, where the net outflow from the ETFs, right, were more than the inflow. So overall, we had outflows. But the last 2 days has been very positive. 300, it's hard to see, I know, I'm going to read off the number, but 378 million, and that was on Friday. And yesterday, we had a net inflow of 217 million, okay? But overall, you could see the net inflow is a lot more than outflow since the beginning of the ETFs, right? It's just recently we took a little breather. And Grayscale is still positive. 2 days straight, Grayscale did not have outflow. Inflow. Yesterday was barely $3 million, okay? But you could see how much came out of Grayscale. And despite all this selling, Bitcoin still held its own. In fact, not only that, Bitcoin went to a new high before coming down a little bit. But just look at, we're talking about billions upon billions, actually over $10 billion worth of Bitcoin sold. And there's no other entity out there now that have this much. Besides MicroStrategy, which we know they'll never sell, and then BlackRock now. But no one else has this kind of supply. And Grayscale sold half, and still Bitcoin held and went higher. That shows you how amazing and how much strength there is, how much demand there is for Bitcoin right now, right? So how does this lead to the supply shock? Well, exchange inflow right now is the lowest since 2015. 2015, what was Bitcoin in 2015? It was like $10, $15, maybe like $30, okay? And the amount of inflow, amount of people that are actually sending their Bitcoin to be sold at exchanges is the lowest level since 2015. That should tell you something, that most people holding on Bitcoin are not touching it, are not thinking about selling it, okay? So this is definitely the right move. And again, you think about demand and supply. Demand keeps on going up. Every day I show you guys how demand is going up. You have so much FOMO going on, and the supply keeps on diminishing. Not only are people not selling it at exchanges, but we see more and more and more being loaded up into the ETFs. And the long-term investors, the long-term holders, we see their wallets also increase. And on top of all that, we just had the inflation rate of Bitcoin get cut in half. Now there's only 450 being produced per day. Per day. That's like nothing. That's really nothing. One big boy can eat up 450 like it's nothing. And here's the kicker. The miners aren't really selling it anyways. They're keeping that 450 for themselves. So it's really like everyone's just fighting again for what exists, not for any of the new Bitcoin. It's not even being released. And take a look at this. This is crazy. People that have between 100 to 1,000 Bitcoin, look at that massive spike that happened recently. Look at that massive, huge parabolic spike. So while Bitcoin was going down, okay, the long-term investors, and you could argue some of the whales, they've been loading up, okay, because they know it's the time to be loading up when there is some volatility and when people are panicking, especially the new retail investors are panicking. What do? You load up, okay? And that is exactly what's happening. So the supply shock is already happening. The supply is diminishing, and that's why it's not too late to get into Bitcoin. Okay, there are still so many people out there that will ignore it, that will willingly ignore it, and you know what? They're going to feel the pain. Like every single cycle, especially towards the end, you have random people in your life asking you about Bitcoin, asking you if it's too late to get in. The funny thing is, when Bitcoin dips, when Bitcoin's low, none of these people ask you. They only ask you when things are sky high. And that's generally speaking a red flag when you have everyone asking you, is it a good time to buy Bitcoin, right? So, yeah, it's still a good time to buy Bitcoin. It's still a good time to buy Bitcoin because the supply shock is going to drive it much higher. Here's another reason. South Korea is going to allow spot ETFs in June, next month. Okay, we have it in Hong Kong now. We have it in the US, obviously. We have it in Canada. And we have some ETPs in Europe too. This is all going to add to the supply shock because it's going to drive demand higher and remove more Bitcoin away from the circulating supply and away from the exchanges. And South Korea is a huge, huge crypto nation. If you look at exchange volumes, they are number 2. So it's absolutely huge. And this is coming. This is coming. And you know what? Here's the thing. None of this is by coincidence. Do you guys really think that Wall Street and Gary all of a sudden just allowed Bitcoin ETFs to happen the year of the halving event? And do you think China just accidentally allowed ETFs to happen the year of the halving event, and now South Korea is also doing this the year of the halving event? None of this is a coincidence. This is all planned. These guys know what's going on. They know this is the start of the parabolic bull run. And what's to come is going to be astonishing, amazing. And it's going to make everyone boatloads of money, including these ETF issuers, right? None of this is a mistake. This was all planned years upon years ago, right? You just have to put it all together. Not a mistake, not a coincidence. This is all adding up, okay? And here's something else. Colombian bank launches crypto exchange and peso stablecoin. I think all South American countries will eventually embrace crypto, especially Bitcoin, since a lot of them suffer hyperinflation and economic turmoil. And the way to opt out is to opt in to Bitcoin. It's really that simple, right? All right, now let's look at a few charts. So short term, what does this look like? If this was reversed and it was not inverse, a lot of people would say, well, that looks like Bitcoin, looks like Bitcoin's going to crash next, right? Well, when you inverse it, somehow it seems less believable, but it's exactly where we are right now. We're looking at this inverse head and shoulders pattern. And what happens after an inverse head and shoulders pattern? What happens next is we pump up to the next leg up. Maybe this time we're not pumping to the next leg up yet, but going back to our previous high of 73,000, then going above to 80 and 90, I think that's going to come sooner than people expect. We're really not that far off. And for Bitcoin to move 10K from where we are to 63 to 73, really, that could come in moments. We have seen that before. Just a little bit of buying, a little bit of short liquidations causing short squeezes can cause Bitcoin to go up 10,000 points like it's nothing. We're not that far off from our previous high, guys. So in case you're thinking, oh man, we have fallen so much, so fast, so long. No, that's not the case at all. Not the case at all. Here's another chart that shows you what's happening right now, the stair stepping, right? And this one's looking at how we have this trend of 4 months. Every 4 months, we form a next kind of like stable point, consolidation point, and then we shoot higher. And we're right around that point. We're right around that point. Maybe we go sideways a little bit further, but we're gearing up for that next leg up. And then finally, I'll show you, I'll end with this. If you look at, again, this is according to seasons, but, you know, if you just look at where we are in this cycle and then look at where we were before in previous cycles, this is definitely not the time to be selling. This is not the time to think that we're near a high or all-time high and now we're going to crypto winter. No, nowhere close. Nowhere close. In fact, we should not be going down until the end of 2025, which is that next red spot. So we're barely in the parabolic phase. Barely in it. But we will get out of it. And we will form a new high soon. So stay strong. Stay strong, my friends. All right. Last few things I want to talk about. SEC punts Invesco's spot Ethereum decision to July. I think SEC is going to keep pushing back and back and back. I don't think Gary wants to allow a Ethereum ETF before he's kicked out of office. Okay? I just don't see it. I think he's going to delay this as much as he can and possibly push it to next year because by then he won't be SEC chair anymore and he won't care. I think that's the plan. So I don't think we're going to see a Ethereum spot ETF this year, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe other countries will lead the way. Like Hong Kong already has Ethereum spot ETFs. Not much volume, but they could lead the way, and maybe South Korea is going to add them too. What else is there? Let's see. Phantom. I don't know. Random buyer that bought 3.18 million Phantom. So does he know something that we don't? Maybe. The Sonic upgrade, or maybe their meme culture is growing. I don't know, but that's a whole lot of Phantom to be buying. And then what else is there? AI. I just had a whole big thing about AI last night. AI is leading the market right now, and Nvidia is just blowing up, right? But I did see today, because the AI boom, BitHum, which is one of South Korea's large exchanges, will list Near and AIs, both in the AI space. So that's pretty positive, right? All right. That's what I want to cover. Let's do some Q&A. Got a good crowd today. Welcome, everyone. Let's see here. Just scrolling through the comments, making sure I didn't miss anything. Kevin gifted 1 membership. Thank you for that. In fact, that reminds me, I can also gift memberships if I remember how to do that. I don't remember how to do that. I can right here. Will I get kicked out if I say let's go Knicks? Well, I'll tell you this. I like Knicks way better than the Pacers. I don't think anyone likes the Pacers. So, despite that, I'm no fan of Knicks. But man, Nuggets got destroyed last night. And that's what I want to see. Because I'm no fan of Nuggets. T-Wolves are just playing outrageous right now. Crazy Uncle, how do you think the Dirty Degens are doing on my challenge? Well, I think they're doing very well. I think they're doing very well. They have made some good picks recently. So I think they're well on their way. Sky Ty says Solana is going to be a clear winner this bull run. No doubt. No doubt. They're showing a lot of strength right now. Is it possible, Patrick says, is it possible to introduce you to a huge meme coin in the making? If I had $1 every time I heard that, I would have $10. I'm just kidding. I hear that about every meme coin, Patrick. Everyone comes and pitches to me like, George, this is going to be the next big one. We have day one of, Sheep supporters, Doge supporters. Oh, we have the foundation support and this and that. And every single one I look at, I'm like, okay, show me. And they go nowhere. Like, it's really hard. It's really hard to make a successful meme. People think they could just create a token and it's just go up to the moon, and that's simply not the case. Community building is way harder than it seems. John is asking thoughts on DeFi. That's a generic question. Of course, I like DeFi. DeFi is very, very important in the space. It's funny how DeFi is now so ingrained into people now. It's like using a wallet and a DEX is like second nature, right? But even back in early 2021, DeFi was still kind of taboo. And 2017, forget about it. DeFi didn't even really exist, right? We have come a long way. And that's why a lot of these chains and projects are so strong. So DeFi, obviously, great. Your second part of your question, do I like Compound? No. Unfortunately, no, I don't. Near Protocol is having a really good day today, up 5%. Probably because of the BitHum listing. But look at Render too. Render up 6% today. AI plays are going to get hotter and hotter and hotter. Last night I covered how NVIDIA's earnings coming up in a week or two, and that's probably going to drive AI plays even higher. Red Rubles, other than BitUnix, what other exchange would you recommend? You could check out my best exchange guide. You could try Tapbit. But a lot of these exchanges don't have Gala, to be honest. Especially not if you want to leverage trade. BitUnix, Tapbit are the ones that are still open to the US. But I've been using BitUnix. I think they're pretty good. I think their app is really good. Ryan F. Just a random $10 super chat. Appreciate it. George, the build quality of Model S sucks. Is a Taycan or e-tron GT a good EV alternative? Except e-tron GTs have the worst depreciation. You get one in the 50s now, and those were new, like 150. You're talking about the greatest depreciation ever on an EV car. So I would not get an e-tron GT for that reason. There must be a reason why. Taycans, I hear, are good, but the range sucks and they're super expensive. You have to get a Taycan Turbo S or something like that to equal the Model S performance, but I hear it does drive way nicer. I don't know if it looks nice. I don't like the Taycan looks. If you want a really nice EV car to drive, the nicest car I've ever driven was a Mercedes EQS SUV. So, and they have a sedan, and I have been chauffeured in a EQS sedan too. EQS, Mercedes went all out on it. It's not very popular, but if you drive one or sit in one, it's the most comfortable SUV or sedan ever created. And they have depreciated massively too. So if you could get like a 1-year-old, 2-year-old EQS, I think you'll be very happy with it. Big A. Good morning, George. Pull up this chart and look at what a successful community launch looks like. Chuck on Base Network. You have looked at it before, yes. And Scott and Josh has brought that up to me before. I actually looked at it for the first time yesterday in a long time, and their chart is nutty. I mean, I can't. I mean, that is like a beautiful chart. No real big dips. I don't know anything about this project, but whatever they're doing right. That is a pretty, and look at the volume. The volume is picking up too. So whatever they're doing it right. I see Ming in the chat. There is only one Tesla. There is only one Tesla. That doesn't mean anything. Can Whip 10x this cycle? Yes. Just like Sheep did. Sheep did in 2021. Whip can do the same. You still think we're going to have a good week? I'm still clinging on hope. If Grayscale stops selling and they still inflow, yes. Yes. Things can move really quickly, remember, Lazaro. Things can move very, very quickly and flip really fast. So who's dumping every day? I've seen reports about how some of the miners may be selling still to take profits, because right now it's twice as hard to mine in Bitcoin as before, or at least twice as costly. So I've seen some articles that say that miners may be selling to get that cash to build out their facilities. Tag Christopher, would you double down on Big Red or cut loss and rotated Bitcoin? You know what? I think memes, sometimes they go down a lot, right? But as long as the founders and communities do not give up, they come back really, really fast. So for me, I still hold on to my Big Red, but of course I hold on to a lot of Bitcoin, right? So if you just want a dollar cost average into Bitcoin instead, that's fine. I don't know about selling something when it's so low already, right? Because I do think the team is not going to give up on it. Stack is shipping on May 25th. Use multi-wallets. Robert, what? Okay. How much BTC is considered loss unrecoverable? No one really knows. People are predicting anywhere from 5 to 8 million. So if you take that into account, there's only 19.7 million circulating right now. So 94% of the supply. So if you subtract that 5 to 8 million, that makes it even scarcer. There's really not that many people on the planet that holds Bitcoin. And think about how much like Michael Saylor and company holds now. Where's the thing that shows how much? Liquidations, dashboard, countdown. That's not. Bitcoin Treasury, circle. Okay, 71 entities already hold 12.177 supply. And this is out of 21 million. This is not out of 19.7 million. So it's actually higher. Okay. So think about it. 2.5 million being held by only 71 entities. So these guys are not going to stop. Like Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy, everyone's cheering on Michael Saylor when he buys more Bitcoin. But do people realize that he holds more than 1% of all Bitcoin already? You know, Bitcoin is meant to be held by the people, not by big institutions. But nevertheless, MicroStrategy holds more than 1% of the supply already. Even US and China has some, but look at BlackRock, look at Grayscale, right? Each hold about 1.3%. Grayscale is still a little bit higher, 1.4%. You know, Fidelity's not that far off. Supply shock. Crypto's the future. Thank you. I try to do my best. Keep you guys motivated and in the game. Orange Bloods. To answer your question, yes, I think Solana ecosystem will outperform other ecosystems. With that said, SolSex is not going to be doing anything significant for the ecosystem. I just don't get it. Why do you want to sex on a decentralized project, right? That doesn't even make much sense to me at all. So I don't know if you asked that question to just really try to shill SolSex, but no, I'm not a fan of that project, but I am a big fan of Solana. Jupiter is fantastic. If you want to train anything on Solana, just use Jupiter. It is absolutely fantastic of a DEX. See, Tesla still holds 9,720. They sold 75%. Had they not done that, they would have, what, over $2 billion worth of Bitcoin. Too bad. Too bad Elon had to sell. What do you think, MF coin, and do you see it as the next Pepe? No. That's pretty random. No. It's very hard to be the next Pepe or the next Whiff or the next Sheep. Okay. It takes a hell of a lot of luck and buyers. Any idea if Kusama could do a 10x from here? Sure, there's a chance, but probably a low chance. I don't hear anything. I don't hear anyone talk about Kusama. Orange Blood, don't try to compare BNB to SolSex. BNB is the native token for the chain, yes, but it started as an exchange token, and Binance is still the biggest DEX out there. I mean, biggest SEX out there. So there's a big difference there. And Binance, BNB does just like slowly creep up. I've always said this. No one gets terribly excited about BNB, but it just creeps up and you just don't even notice it. Like right now, it's at 590, above Solana. Solana's having a hard time flipping and staying above because it's so damn strong. 87 billion. You know, you look at the last 7-day performance, okay, 4%, not too good. So. But then you look at the last 90-day performance at 95%. Like, where the hell did that come from? Right? Same thing. Doge went up 100% last 90 days. Toncoin went up 190%. Toncoin is just one I just don't get. I'm still like wary about Toncoin and everything. It just seems like it's artificial, but it is climbing. It's in top 10 now. Bobby Jackson, appreciate it. Tensor, I think they're still one of the bigger AI plays. Not many people talk about them though. They're trying to be a decentralized open AI, right? Wait, no, I'm thinking about the wrong project. This is a different one. 100 million. Doesn't have anything. Power user. What's a power user? Region blocked. Okay, no, I'm not thinking about the right project. I can't tell you because I can't even check it out. Apple event right now. Supposedly Apple wants to talk about AI chips. Maybe not this time, maybe next time. Land Cruiser, Forerunner, Tacoma thoughts. What's your question? Is Pepe capable of reaching 40 billion market cap? If Sheeb did, then yes. Pepe is capable. I said this. I just showed this last night. Go look at what happened within 1 month, October 2021. Sheeb went from 3 billion to 40 billion. So if it happened to them, gonna happen to Pepe or Whiff or Bonk or any of the big memes? Yes, can happen. There's a possibility. Would you consider buying a supercar? I already have one. I have a Ferrari. Unless you don't consider it as a supercar, but I do. Is the meme coin community too saturated? It definitely is, but you're still seeing a lot of memes pump. There are some that are still holding very well, way better than I expected. And there are some that are still pumping. Now, the bigger ones, they're kind of losing a little bit of momentum, and some of the liquidity have been coming out into the newer projects. But that's normal. You're going to see that. But when Bitcoin starts moving again, when the market gets hot again, they will all get hot again. George, is AMS 33K a scam? What do you think? With that kind of name, do you think that's legit or a scam? Just take 2 seconds to think about it. Robert, you have no idea what you're talking about. I'm sorry. You have zero clue. My portfolio has these Sol, ADA, Stacks, H-Bar, Matic. Okay, that's way too much. 50K invested. Thoughts? I'm not your financial advisor, so I can't give you thoughts on your portfolio. But there are a lot in there. All right, guys. To conclude, supply shock is happening. Don't ignore it. Don't fade it, as they would say. Stay strong, stay focused, and I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right, have a good one. Take care.